Trailers are easily one of the most powerful marketing tools available to film studios. It informs the public who's in it, what the general tone is, and in some cases all the f***ing plot details as well, so what's the goddamn point of even showing up to view it at all? Regardless of this personal affliction, trailers are useful and excellent at pumping the potential audience full of that sweet hype tripe. However, that's not to say that all trailers are necessarily honest, as the offenders on this list are those who almost try to sell a different movie to that which was delivered. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 movie trailers that blatantly lie to you. Now, let it be known, kids, that many of the films found here are actually pretty great, but that doesn't mean that the studios told a few white lies to get us into the cinema in the first place. Number 10. Monsters. The trailer for Gareth Edwards' Monsters promised an alien invasion that takes place over Central America, and two protagonists desperately attempting to survive a relentless series of attacks from the beast. The reality was a shoestring budget triumph that was much more of an art house film than a typical monster flick, revolving more around the relationship between the two central characters, set in front of a war-torn landscape that mostly just implies the presence of the monster rather than actually showing it off. There's no real big action payoff, and it's really not the action movie that was promised. To be fair though, what it was actually pretty bloody brilliant. Number 9. CATFISH. After this teaser, CATFISH looked like a thriller about a young man learning the perils of building a romantic relationship on Facebook, culminating in a slasher film type payoff. What it didn't show was that CATFISH is actually a faux documentary. Plus, the dark turn audiences would have expected really didn't come either. The trailer implies that Nev and his buddies end up being stalked by some sort of axe-wielding hillbilly, though the end result is something completely different, if not still totally disturbing. It's absolutely great, but it's not the movie that its trailer suggested. Number 8. The Grey. If this trailer was to be believed, The Grey would have seen Liam Neeson attempting to survive the aftermath of a plane crash in Alaska, resulting in him spending most of this movie punching more holes in pelt than I do with your mothers. There's my one per list. In reality, Joe Carnahan's The Grey turned out to be a much better film than pretty much anyone was expecting, largely because it wasn't the dumb action movie film that the marketing team made it look like. The final result is, in fact, a far more intelligent survival flick, as Neeson's character and his fellow survivors find themselves standing toe-to-toe with nature, death, and their own mortality. Number 7. Spring Breakers. The trailer for Spring Breakers seemed to promise the ultimate movie about teen hedonism. Sexy girls in skimpy bikinis, plenty of drinking and drug taking, and James Franco as a grill-toting gangster called Alien? Okay. Though it did pretty much deliver all of that, it was also, and I really mean this, a smarter type of film. It was perfectly balanced between being a vapid Hollywood leerfest and something more artful. It's beautifully filmed, features strong characters, and boasts probably the most dementedly brilliant use of a Britney Spears song in recent memory. It's not American Pie on steroids, it's actually a clever art house commentary on debauchery. Number 6. Cabin in the Woods. The teaser may have made it look like another generic horror movie that takes place in a cabin in the woods, unsurprisingly, with a group of brainless teenagers who quickly succumb to the same pitfalls that every horror movie character before them already has. But this cabin in the woods was so much more. This is a gleefully self-aware attempt at taking the genre to task for its lack of originality, and it leaps into the realms of sci-fi with its ancient one prevention task force at the center of it all. It might look cliché from the trailer, but this was infinitely more impressive, hilarious, and surprising. Number 5. Hercules. On the strength of its trailer, Hercules looked like an epic adventure flick depicting the most awesome moment of Hercules' life as a warrior, including taking on more animals than a furry at a petting zoo and a ton of flexing in between. But this was actually an unexpectedly ambitious flick, which took a weirdly subversive look at the title character, painting him as an actual strongman rather than the inhuman legend that audiences will know. Half of the action that you'd expect happens in the first 3 minutes of the film, and it isn't a tale about him becoming the Hercules of legend and more living it after the fact. It's not terrible, but it's not what audiences signed up for based on the trailer, and the end result was far less mythical and more mundane action war flick. Number 4. Magic Mike. So this trailer promised one thing, kind of the same thing any video I star in provides, a lot of talented dick. It showed the likes of Matthew McConaughey and Channing Tatum bronzed, oiled up, and not wearing very much for the majority of the film's runtime. Yet, in reality, Magic Mike delivers plenty of beautiful bodies, but the movie's devotion to an actual storyline and character development may prove surprising and even disappointing. Indeed, Tatum and co aren't just slabs of meat to ogle, they're living, breathing human beings with motivations and desires beyond their vocation, to the point that some audiences inevitably complained that the movie was too smart. Yes, that's right, you heard me. This is why we can't have nice things. Number 3. World's Greatest Dad. The trailer for World's Greatest Dad made it look like a quirky, offbeat comedy about a man struggling to raise his obnoxious teenage son, tinged with a little black comedy, but not too much. In reality, this film is goddamn miserable in places. Now, I'm going to ruin the mid-game twist now, so if you are going to watch this, tune out now. So, Robin Williams' character finds that his son has died in an autoerotic asphyxiation accident, and then uses his son's death to sell his own failed writings under his son's name, exploiting the cult of dead celebrity that emerges to further his own creative success. So if you're expecting a father-son comedy with a few edgy jokes, then you're probably going to be shocked by the wanky death halfway through. It's a great film though. Number 2. The American. The American's trailer promised a sleek, sophisticated action thriller starring George Clooney as an American assassin leaping around the world, taking on various jobs and putting down anyone who gets in his way. But this thriller is far from the fast-moving action flick audiences were expecting. It's an artistic, slow-moving, character-driven effort that focuses more on Clooney's dialogues with a parade of beautiful women than gunfights and car chases. Though there are the occasional bursts of action, they're incredibly brief, and no doubt disappointed anyone who went in expecting to see Clooney kicking butt and taking names. And number 1, Kangaroo Jack. Kangaroo Jack looked like a fun buddy comedy about two guys traveling Australia when all their money is suddenly stolen by a hoodie-wearing, sunglasses-clad talking kangaroo, leading them on a hilarious wild chase to get it back. Well, at least thanks to the trailer. However, the titular kangaroo simply isn't in the movie anywhere near as much as advertised, and though the trailer suggests that he can talk and rap, this only occurs in a dream sequence, and it was actually added in late in the production intentionally to fool family audiences into seeing it. Seriously. There simply isn't a buddy dynamic at all, and the worst thing is that this lie actually worked. It put the film to a number 1 position in the box office upon its release. It didn't stay there for long as soon as people realized it, but it just goes to show that the lie really can work for a studio, and it's why they'll keep doing it.
Gosh, can you believe that person said that about that particular video on that entry? I sure can't. But you should like, share and subscribe below anyway. And also, the people who made this video, they're right here. Go follow them and give them some love. Also, there's more content, probably above my head. Check it out. Or don't. 50-50.